that the people of Ghana has given us. This is evident in the impressive strides the nation has made in the past 22 months. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the President, I wish to thank you all, the citizens of this country, for your patience, perseverance, sacrifices, activism, and partnership that you have extended to this government. So far-reaching and non-partisan at times has these sacrifices been that even now, some members of the minority in Parliament have decided to lead a campaign for a cleaner environment by dumping their gasoline Toyota Land Cruisers to ride bicycles to work. For example, Mr. Speaker, for example, Mr. Speaker, a former deputy minister of power during the unforgiving Doomso era under President John Dramani Mahama was seen only 2 evenings ago riding his bicycle to a luxury furniture shop to get the country out of some very rough seas. We are not proud of the fact that there's still hardship in the country, but we are comforted by the fact that we have managed to ease the impact of the hardships that the Ghanaian people have been resigned to prior to December 7, 2016. We are not there yet. We still have a long way to go in fulfilling the manifest destiny of this blessed land. Indeed, we are being repaid for the years the locusts have eaten. So, Mr. Speaker, what is, however, clear is that the nation is moving forward under this government and moving forward in the right direction. We are now, Mr. Speaker, on course to exit the inherited IMF program at the end of this year. It has been a collective effort by all of us for exercising the kind of macroeconomic competence and discipline that was evidently lacking in the past, and the people for their patience, understanding, and keeping faith with their government. The program may have had its critics because of the constraints it imposed, but it was a necessary pill because by 2014, Mr. Speaker, the government then had lost the fiscal discipline and had very little choice but to seek the bailout. We are grateful to the IMF and fast rising public debt, which pushed the debt to GDP ratio to 73.1% at the end of 2016. Fast fall CD affecting even the meager profits that street hawkers struggle to make. High interest rates killing businesses. Effective return cash and carry under NHIS as a result of government arrears. Weak banking system and unstable financial systems. And lest we forget, Mr. Speaker, Ghanaian businesses, big and small, were working only to pay electricity bills or to buy diesel for the generator. We cannot forget so soon the havoc that 5 years of Doomso caused to households, businesses and all up and down this great country of ours. These are just items on the long list of things that were broken and need to be fixed. Declining debt to GDP ratio, changing from a weak banking system to a strong, well-capitalized and better supervised banking system. A change from taxation that undermines production. A change from a predominance of sourcing to competitive tendering in procurement. This change has seen the Public Procurement Authority making total savings of 1.8 billion from January 2017 to October 2018. It is important to a change from the abolition of nursing training allowance to a restoration.
Let us watch the language.
Of nursing training allowance.
Must be parliamentary. Order. Honorable Brong.
A change to increase the share of DD %. A change in a moribund private sector to a vibrant job-creating private sector. A change from rising graduate employment programs such as the 100,000 strong NAPCO core. A change from a dying colonial railway network system that is now being re-energized. A change from His Excellency responded and promised an innovative change to bring jobs and income to every district through one district, one factory. An innovative change to bring development to our rural areas through one village, one dam under IPEP. An innovative change to more payment interoperability. An innovative change to 3 development authorities to be a vehicle for accelerated development and the allocation of capital expenditure in our rural areas. An innovative change to the establishment of the Zongo Development Fund as a vehicle to focus on the development needs of Zongo communities. And an innovative change to the approach of entrepreneurship development through the establishment of a ministry and national entrepreneurship and innovation program. The major focus of the government in the last 22 months has been to clean the economic headwinds we inherited with the restoration and a half to 15% and further to 13%, converted from ad valorem to specific tax. In fact, it is important to note that petroleum taxes as a percentage of the total price build-up for petroleum price has reduced, Mr. Speaker, from 40% in March 2017 to 26% today. We abolished levies imposed on KIA churches by local authorities. We abolished the 1% special import levy. We abolished 17.5% VAT child on domestic airline tickets. We abolished 17.5% VAT NHI on financial services. We abolished the 17.5% VAT NHI on selected imported medicines that are not produced locally. We abolished the 5% VAT NHI on real estate sales. We abolished import duty on importation of spare parts. We reduced national education scheme levy from 5% to 2%. We reduced public levy from 5% to 3%. After 22 months of disciplined economic management, Mr. Speaker, the results have been quite remarkable. Economic growth increased from 3.7% in 2016 to 8.5% in 2017. Agriculture growth increased from 3% in 2016 to 8.4% in 2017. Industry growth rose from negative 0.5% in 2016 to 16.7% or 6% that the government has set the deficit target. It is at 2.8% of GDP in June 2018 within the target of 4.5% of GDP in December 2018. Inflation, Mr. Speaker, declined from 15.4% in 2016 to 11.8% in 2017. Now stands, Mr. Speaker, in single digits at 95% in October 2018. The world has strengthened. The trade account recorded a deficit of $1.4 billion in June 2016, improved significantly to a surplus for the first time in 2 decades of $1.1 billion as of June 2017, and another surplus of $1.1 billion as of June 2018. Our gross international reserves increased from $6.2 billion in December 2016, 3.5 months of import cover, to $7.3 billion as of June 2018, 3.9 months of export cover. Ghana's debt to GDP ratio, which increased from 32%, Mr. Speaker, in 2008, returned to Egypt again. In preparing this budget, we undertook broad consultations with various stakeholders across the nation. Consequently, I present to this august House and to the people of our country a budget that delivers on the hopes and expectations of Ghanaians, a budget that speaks to the needs of hardworking Ghanaians, a budget that enables us to face the future with confidence, a budget that reflects government's commitment to building human capital through improvements in health and education, and second in the world after Mexico, to fully integrate the SDG framework, enabling us to track our financial performance in order to ensure progress on these important targets that affect the lives of our fellow Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, our 2018 Ajuma budget aimed to build on our 2017 Assembly budget achievements and put the country back to work to grow the economy, create jobs, and improve the lives of Ghanaians. Economic growth remains strong, and we are on track to achieve our key macroeconomic targets for 2018 and the medium term. This is progress we can all be proud of. Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Statistical Service completed the GDP rebasing GDP base. The 2017 GDP growth rate of 8.5% was revised down to 8.1%, which is the highest in recent years. We are fully aware of what happened the last time Ghana's economy was rebased. In November 2010, resulting in a 63% upward change, it gave the then managers of the economy a false sense of security, as the debt to GDP ratio was significantly reduced. They went on a borrowing spree, forgetting that rebasing also exposed our variable revenue we raised through taxation. Mr. Speaker, during the first half of 2018, real GDP grew by 5.4%, reflecting slower growth in the oil sector compared to 2017. But we are still on track to achieve our revised target of 5.6% growth this year. Much of the higher growth in the past 2 years reflects our prudent economic management and flagship programs that respond to the realities of the majority of our citizens. In addition to significant achievements in stabilizing the economy, we are on course, Mr. Speaker, to achieve our fiscal deficit target of 4.5% for the year, 0.7% in the rebase series. This would be the second consecutive year this government has achieved its fiscal deficit target. Last year's target of 6.3% was surpassed to 5.9%. Our key economic targets for 2018 and the medium term will thus be achieved. This is progress we can all be proud of. Mr. Speaker, not only are we growing the economy, the Bank of Ghana has also done an excellent job in implementing monetary policy. This has resulted in inflation dropping to single digits, lower interest rates, and a relatively stable currency. Despite recent turbulence in emerging markets and a strengthening US dollar, the financial system is critical to the functioning and development of the economy, and banks are central to our financial system. In addition to providing employment to a large segment of the population, the role of banks as a provider of credit and liquidity to the economy remains critical to the functioning of the economy. Mr. Speaker, weak macroeconomic conditions coupled with poor corporate governance and risk management in a number of banks over the past few years led to high levels of non-performing loans and abuse of depositors' funds through related parties and affiliates in breach of regulatory requirements. In addition, lack of enforcement of the rules contributed to liquidity and solvency challenges in the banking sector. As a result, we inherited a number of weak banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions, savings and loans companies, finance houses, rural and community banks, and microfinance institutions. This eventually led to an assumption and consolidation of 7 banks with potentially adverse consequences for depositors, creditors, employers, suppliers, and other stakeholders. It was critically important that these banks be made to exit the financial system in a timely and orderly fashion to avoid contagion for the rest of the financial system. Mr. Speaker, since the assumption of office by the current administration of the Bank of Ghana, bold measures have been taken to restore the health and resilience of the banking sector and to clamp down on unlicensed deposit-taking financial houses. In addition to the 2 insolvent banks that were closed last year by the Bank of Ghana, 5 more closed in August this year for insolvency and other infractions of the law. Rescuing the situation regarding these 7 banks has so far cost some 9.9 billion Ghana cedis, monies government had not budgeted for and could surely have put in good use to fix our numerous infrastructure needs, roads, bridges, housing, etc. The government has continued to provide assurances to depositors and customers of licensed banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions through demonstrable actions that their deposits are safe. Indeed, for the creation of the Consolidated Bank Limited, a wholly owned government of Ghana and licensed by the Bank of Ghana as a universal bank, the government capitalized it with 450 million Ghana cedis. In addition, government had to issue a bond with a face value of 7.6 billion to cover the gap between the deposit liabilities and the remaining good liabilities of the 5 failed banks. This singular act of government has reposed confidence in the banking system because it will ensure that no deposits of the 1.2 million depositors will be lost and customers will continue to access their deposits without difficulty. Through government's intervention in August this year, deposits of some 11 billion have been saved, as well as some 2,661 jobs, in addition to several hundred saved 2017. Progress in repairing their balance sheets by writing off bad loans and addressing capital needs. Banks are far advanced in executing their plans to augment their statutory capital in line with the new minimum requirement, compliance of which is expected by end December 2018. The Bank of Ghana is also working on a comprehensive action plan for cleaning up the specialized deposit-taking institutions made up of savings and loan companies, finance houses, rural and community banks, microfinance institutions. The government will support an orderly resolution of the difficulties and will provide the much needed funds to facilitate prompt payouts to their depositors. Mr. Speaker, the government's financial interventions in the cleanup exercise have been necessary to help mitigate the socio-economic impacts arising out of the closure of the failed financial institutions. It is important that the cost of these interventions borne by taxpayers are recovered to the extent possible through recoveries from debtors, shareholders, and related connected parties who through unfair means siphon funds from the defunct banks to the detriment of depositors, employees, other stakeholders, and the economy as a whole. The Bank of Ghana Also, Mr. Speaker, set up an Office of Ethics and Internal Investigations to investigate all allegations of misconduct by Bank of Ghana staff, including any role in the collapse of the defunct banks. In addition to all these cleanups, government has also taken steps to settle all claims of DKM customers. Mr. Speaker, the liquidator received 99,858 claims, and the validated claims amounted to 502 million Ghana cedis. I would like to inform the country that out of the 99,858 claims, 79,708, 80% have been settled and depositors have been paid. The government has set aside funds at the Bank of Ghana to pay the remaining 20% depositors upon validation. An additional 12,612 claims have been fully provided for, but customers have not as yet been able to show proof of deposit. This means that 90% of DKM claims from depositors have been paid or provided for. Depositors for the remaining 7,568 claims of above 10,000 Ghana cedis are yet to reach agreement with the liquidators. Mr. Speaker, let me say, please, His Excellency the President, that in 2018 and 2017, 271,000 young Ghanaians, 90,000 in 2017-2018, and 181,000 in 2018-2019, who would not have been able to access secondary education were Mr. Speaker, the days of an ailing national health insurance scheme are behind us. We have re-energized the scheme, which is now able to settle its bills, thereby ensuring that many more Ghanaians have access to quality health care across the country. Mr. Speaker, we have paid all arrears since 2014 that we came to meet. Mr. Speaker, for our government, support for the private sector is a top priority. Our efforts to improve the business environment were duly recognized in 2019 World Bank Ease of Doing Business report, in which our position improved from 120 to 114 out of 190 countries. This is just a beginning as we strive to continually improve the business climate in Ghana. We can and will do much better. Mr. Speaker, government has provided strong support to stimulate the private sector. In addition to bringing down interest rates, we provided direct support to the sector through the stimulus and 1D1F programs. The 1D1F program has generated strong interest from several banks. 55 companies have been founded, with several others in the pipeline. Government's Planting for Food and Job program is yielding impressive results. In order to consolidate gains achieved under the program, government 2 weeks ago operationalized the Ghana Commodity Exchange, the first electronic commodity exchange in West Africa. Going forward, there will be a ready market for farmers who produce grains such as corn and soya. Through this exchange, 3 L's we call in the industry: the largest Eurobond issuance in our country's history of $2 billion, the longest maturity period of 30 years, and the lowest pricing in Ghana's history, 8.627% for the 30-year bond. Mr. Speaker, 2018, Ghana's appeal as the preferred investment destination has grown significantly, and we have attracted global industry giants such as Volkswagen, Nissan, and Siemens to establish local assembly plants. Mr. Speaker, and Sinotrack. Mr. Speaker, our policies improve the business environment, and the private sector has responded by increasing jobs. Based on SNIT data, the private sector added 208,624 more jobs in the first 10 months of 2018.